WhiskyJason here, Whiskey Live Dublin 2024, together with
Oisín Mulcahy,
and you are the
head distiller and blender at Clonakilty Distillery.
Congratulations on this
Thank
job, and congratulations on a wonderful product, I hope. So, what is this that I'm holding in my hand?
So this is our first 100% Clonakilty owned, distilled, matured single pot still whiskey.
Yeah.
So, like as you said, it's the work of the last 5-6 years.
Yes.
So a long time in the wait.
I have it in my glass. I don't often do this. I actually drink and review, but we're at the end of the day, and this is something I think I've literally been waiting for this for 6 years now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have, and I think it's been a really much a labour of love for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Myself included. Now I've only been here for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But for me, I've had the kind of privilege of taking a sort of essentially a blank slate, so mostly ex-bourbon barrels, and trying to find something unusual and interesting.
What did you find? Would you hold this for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well?
Yeah. So I found we kind of knew we wanted to finish. I think we wanted to pay homage to the classic pot still sherry finish. We wanted something different, a little bit unique.
I like it.
We sourced multiple different types. We looked at the great thing about sherry is it's such a diverse spectrum, so you can find any flavors you want.
Fino to Muscatel, PX, and everything in between. Right?
Absolutely, and what surprised us all, I think, is we were all expecting PX, Oloroso to be the obvious winners. But when we filled Amontillado, we just loved it.
Yeah.
It just had such an incredible, for such a dry sherry. It just had just about enough of the oxidation to give it some amazing character, sweetness, salted caramel, sort of savoury notes.
So natural colour, as we can see.
Natural colour.
46%.
46%.
ABV,
non-chill filtered.
And it says 100% Irish barley.
Yeah.
And the unparted part, 60% I think, is from your own farm, which you see in the background.
Yeah.
Which I visited 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Beautiful lighthouse, beautiful farm there.
Yeah.
Great place.
The great thing about our barley really is the unmalted comes, like you said, from the Scully farm.
Yeah.
But even the malted version is grown in the Cork area. Yeah. So it's 100%, we probably will put that in the bottle at some stage, 100% Cork barley. So it's
100% Cork County barley.
Cork County barley, yeah.
That's great, why not?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we talked about the barrels, we talked about the barley. What I'm trying to ask everyone that's producing whiskey at the moment is water.
Yeah.
In America, we have limestone water, hard water.
Yeah.
In Scotland, they talk about their soft water.
Yeah.
What type of water do you have there in Clonakilty? Where do you get? What's your water source, and what type of water is it?
Well, water source was originally from the warehouse, so it was a well.
Right.
So the water.
Okay, I've been in the warehouse as well.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah.
So what we generally did.
That's very close to the.
Very close to sea. Yeah. Thankfully, it's up on a slight hill on a cliff, so there's no issue with the water table. Okay, and because I've been in places before closer to the sea where you start to pull up a whole lot of salt water. Yeah. But I think Michael, when he first set up the distillery, wanted to do a lot of work into the water profile because I know this is something that they care about a lot in Scotland, making sure that the water is suitable for making whiskey.
Right.
So I think a lot of research was done into testing the water and make sure that the mineral content was good. Obviously, you don't want too much calcium in your water, otherwise you're going to have serious haze issues down the line. So we made sure that our water was the right mineral constitution. There's quite a high level of other things which we had to filter out, but other than that, it was as close to perfect whiskey water as we could get. Yeah. The area is quite kind of sort of sandstone area, so that kind of suits quite well as well with a lot of the best distilleries. Obviously, limestone water is a famous kind of
in Kentucky, but not necessarily other places in the world.
Exactly, and
we found talking about it today. I'm learning as well. Yeah,
and we found that what's probably a very good like we use well water for diluting all our new make.
Right.
So we don't use RO water. We dilute it straight from the well. And I feel like this is a very important sort of step, I feel, because it allows a certain degree of chemical reactions which are inevitably going to happen in the it also risks potential haze problems that we might have in the future, but I think it's worth it for the flavour. Yeah. And I think we have noticed a flavour difference.
Okay.
And I think it's possibly could be one of the reasons why we've had such success in our new make and the quality of our new make.
Come on, you've been the best new make of how many awards? Your new make?
We've won 3 in total, 2 pot stills and a which is really interesting.
New make of the world ones.
Yeah. It's it's incredible. So like we're hoping to turn that into a world's best whiskey at some stage. Yeah, I hope so.
Very good. What is the price point here in Ireland?
That's 59, I think. 59.50.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely the right price for the right product here.
Yeah, I think so. I think nowadays I think people want value for money.
Right.
I think we have to be realistic. It's a 4 or 5, hopefully a 7 or an 8-year-old whiskey eventually.
Yeah.
But it's got to be able to compete and outcompete people selling a 4-year-old for 120 or whatever. So we want people to come back to this, drink it as their rotation whiskey, and that's only going to happen.
Rotation.
You
like that.
You have a bar at home.
You have your 5 or 8 bottles, and that's your rotation.
And you're rotating them out.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we want with this. Something that you can just pick up when it's empty, and it's not going to break the bank, and you're not going to worry about it.
You can still do a single barrel cask strength for €100, and
exactly.
no problem.
Yeah, and we will do that.
Want it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because really, we're hitting we want to hit. No, I wanted a whiskey that would challenge people. Amontillado, slightly different, a bit unique, but also not polarize people, and so that anyone can pick it off the shelf. If Amontillado is a selling point for them, brilliant. But if they don't care, they still taste it, they're happy with it.
They're just happy with it.
Brilliant,
right. And you visited the bodega, I'm sure, in Spain?
That's on my list.
It's on your list. Excuse me. Okay.
No.
Someone else picked out the casks back
there.
No,
we source. I've sourced all the casks from very reputable bodega, or very reputable Coopers. JL Rodriguez, fantastic quality casks, and we're really happy with the kind of quality that they're producing.
Okay.
Definitely, my next step is to go there and actually take a deep dive into where the wine is sourced, where everything is done. So definitely, kind of that's in the works anyway.
All right. Now, talking about a deep dive, you are now the head distiller, master distiller. Mm-hmm. How do you become such a talented person in whiskey making?
Like whiskey, I suppose time and patience, I suppose, is a good.
Is it all learning by doing, really?
Mostly.
Okay, I did not know.
Well, so definitely got into the industry by an accident, but loved it as soon as I was in it, and I think that's probably, in many ways, I had a very traditional sort of apprenticeship route. So you go in at the very bottom, you work in a manual distillery, you learn how to do everything yourself. Dig out the mash yourself, very hands-on. You move up to the automation, the more technical side of things, and you move eventually to your management and your whatever. Yeah. So I think gave me a great kind of a broad spectrum of skills. And of course, on the side, then I'm doing the formal qualifications and diploma in distilling and stuff like that. To just, you need to put the paperwork to the technical understanding to the actual skills. Yeah. But in most cases, it's literally just learn from love of doing it. Right. Learn from others. These are great opportunities here to just wander around, talk to other distillers, see how they're doing things. People are so. I could go over to Middleton there and ask Kevin O'Gorman how they do stuff, and they're just so happy to share with you things. So, and that's how you learn, and that's the best way to do it.
Now, the distillery Clonakilty has a visitor center. We can actually visit you, I think.
Yeah, we have a visitor center. You and our visitor center experienced manager. He's fantastic. The team down there is fantastic. He's a real personality. Anyone who's met him would know that. So I think anyone who wants to visit Clonakilty, you can't miss us. We're right in the middle of the town. You'll see the stills. You'll see the stills as you drive down the street.
The main street. Yeah.
So call in. We do tours. We do gin school for anyone who's interested in gin.
You get to actually distill your own gin.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a little 10-liter pot stills.
I think it's 2.5 liter.
2.5 liter pot stills. You can make your own gin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really nice, and I think kind of a unique. Extra thing to do if you have a stag party, hen party, something, a big group of people. But even just to see the distillery, it's a beautiful location, beautiful distillery, really squeezed into such a small little package. It used to be an old bank, so it's not built to be a distillery, so very, so it was a technological master just to plan that place out. But whoever did it they did a good job, and it's a beautiful distillery, so well worth the trip if anyone's ever in Clonakilty.
So the 5-year-old, that's a 5-year-old. It's no age statement, it's a 5, but I've been waiting for 6 years, it's 5 years basically in age. This is now out. Will the other bottles we have be phased slowly but surely out, or what's going to happen here?
Well,
for example, our Irish whiskey. This is a interesting
that's our double oak
cask.
Yeah.
Or you have here your Galley Head.
Yeah.
Also the Irish whiskey here. So what's going to happen to these products in the next 3 to 5 years?
So these two products were our blended whiskies, essentially. So we still always plan on having a blended expression, because it hits a certain market that we need to hit. Price point, everything. So the double oak is our kind of a premium range blend. Now this used to be a grain and malt blend. What we've done is we've essentially phased out the malt, and it's now a grain and pot blend.
Okay, right.
In fact, all our blends are now single pot still.
I thought there's some of your own juice in here.
There is. So there's our own stuff in everything we make now.
Right.
So the only thing, essentially.
Oh, even here already.
Yeah.
I only knew that the Galley Head had your own.
Yeah.
This has your own as well.
As of the last year, yeah. So the last.
You didn't publicize that, I don't think.
It was publicised,
Okay,
but it did. Yeah, exactly. It was kind of went under the radar, to be honest with you.
Under the radar, at least with me.
Part of the reason, I think, is we didn't want to. We want people to not be kind of, if you were a fan of double oak before, we didn't want you to, maybe it's a certain amount, if we wanted to see what people thought.
Right.
And we don't think it has any negative impact, but we do think it has a change. That spice adds a little bit of, for me, it deepens the flavour profile a little bit. Also, with this one, Galley Head Irish whiskey is 40%. It's just also for a 40% whiskey, considering it has quite a large pot still component.
Okay.
I think you need it, because at 40%, it's an entry-level whiskey, but the pot still just gives it something. It gives it more, kind of like a Powers or a Gold Blend or something. Very nice and kind of premium in its own way, and can compete really well against, a whiskey that's entry-level, and it's not going to polarize too many people.
Right.
So what we'll do eventually is kind of phase out, I suppose, our single malts, because I think everyone's of the opinion.
Have single pot still. It's the only thing you produce there. Yeah.
As of last year, we produced malt.
Okay.
And we will produce malt again.
Started.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that either. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
So again,
maybe on your decision, or I mean, your boss there wasn't always open to that.
No,
originally.
and I think that as a single pot still distillery, that was a kind of a decision made from the early days. But I think I suppose we were all of the opinion that if we're selling malt, we should make malt.
Okay, all right.
And it's never going to be a lot, because we want our pot still to be the forefront.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
So we make very little, probably
10%.
Not even.
Not even. Okay, all right.
Just enough to meet what we think that product range will demand.
Okay, right.
But really, we're putting all our effort in our single pot still.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
that's still the aim.
Yeah.
But I just think that. No problem with sourcing whiskey. We source a lot of our grains. We can't make our own, so we have to source it. But if we can make the liquid, we should.
Yeah.
And this year or last year we made a single malt for the first time, and New Make won the world's best New Make.
Now, okay, right, yeah.
So we did a limited run, very little, 20,000 liters. Yeah. So it's kind of not a lot in the grand scheme of things, and we can't actually afford to make that much more, because so much of our pot still is pretty much sold, are going to be sold in the future, so we really only can save that much. So we'll always be a single pot still distillery, but we will make a small amount. Yeah.
All right, very, very good. Thank you. Online,
www.clonakiltydistillery.ie. Nice and simple.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
WhiskyJason here together with
Oisín Mulcahy.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.